From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
I am still playing catch up because I had to find what bills I could pay bare minimum on.
SNAP benefits and more red tape. How Billings residents who rely on the help say stricter requirements could come too soon after the government shut down.
I'm Isabel Sparts. Coming up, I'll tell you about a string of vandalism here at Hart Mountain and why it's creating challenges for the historical site.
Yeah, we're really excited. It means something to us.
From the gridiron to the brewery, what a Montana collective is doing ahead of the Brawl of the Wild to help the athletes on the field. Those stories and much more coming up in the next hour. Good morning and welcome back to Montana This Morning on this Thursday, November 20th. I'm Hailey Monaco here with Miller Robson. Good morning, Miller.
Good morning, Hailey. Good morning, everyone. A story this morning, I got to watch out for the fog.
Yes.
There's some patchy fog across the area. Not everybody's seeing it, but there's a chance you may see some in your stomping ground. So as you're heading out this morning, just watch down your commute. You can see it's improved just a bit there in Miles City, but we'll take a look at that in just a second. Let's talk temperatures. Yesterday, our high of 52, so still above average, about 8 degrees. Our low of 30, just a little bit above the norm. We're waking up to pretty seasonal temperatures this morning, though. Top gust yesterday of 20 miles an hour. That's going to be a problem across the western foothills this weekend. No big surprise there, where we could have gusts over 35, but Sunday night into Monday, we could definitely have gusts over 50 miles an hour in your area. It was a dry day yesterday for the most part here in Billings. We saw a few drops. Some areas saw a little bit of rain. We're still on the hole for the month, still pacing ahead for the year. Could see some changes in terms of the moisture as we get into next week, as we get ready for holiday travel. More on that coming up as well. Temperatures across the area, mid to upper 20s, maybe even some 30s in some spots off to our west. There you go. It's actually got a little worse in parts of Miles City now. It's down to about 4 miles. So everybody, just be mindful of the fog this morning, where it could be impactful during your morning commute. Hopefully it won't stick around too long. 27 right now at the airport, humidity at 96%. So here in Billings, the dew point temperature's at 26. So we have a chance to see some fog. There's some moisture out there. Winds out of the west at about 3 miles an hour. Day planner today, it's just going to be gorgeous. By lunchtime today, low 40s with lots of sunshine throughout the day. We'll try to hit 50 by the time we hit the drive at 5. So 40s and 50s for highs today. Will be warmer moving forward. By Sunday, some areas may be flirting with 60, and then boom, the changes. Cold front coming in the middle part of next week, really going to change things up. We'll take a look at those changes coming up.
Any snow?
There's a chance.
All right.
There's a chance. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen. Models are still trying to figure it out, but we'll tell you what the latest thinking is coming up.
Wonderful. Miller, thank you.
Okay.
And as of last night, the president went forward with signing a bill that paves the way for the release of the files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, it caps a months-long bipartisan push in Congress that was initially met from residents from the president himself. Now, the president was resisting this along with several other Republican lawmakers. The House passed the bill on Tuesday, with the Senate then unanimously agreeing to send it to the president's desk. The legislation requires Attorney General Pam Bondi to release all unclassified records related to Epstein within 30 days. And Maria Farmer, the first survivor to report Epstein and his partner Ghislaine Maxwell's abuse to law enforcement, wrote in a statement last night, quote, "I hope to see the government make good on its promise of transparency and release the entirety of the files, not bits and pieces, not mass redactions, but the complete truth. The fight for justice will not stop until every criminal involved in Epstein and Maxwell's web of sexual abuse and trafficking is held fully accountable." Well, meanwhile, back home in Montana, 80,000 people in the state recently breathed a sigh of relief when the return of SNAP benefits happened. But the impact of the government shutdown is still being felt by families and local grocery stores. This morning, questions still linger, including what the recertification process will look like for those that rely on the benefits. Our Charlie Kleps reports.
I was at this Billings Albertsons on Monday when the cashier told me that they've seen an uptick in customers since the SNAP benefits were reinstated.
How you doing?
It's good. And we're hearing the same from other local grocery stores as well.
We saw an impact on our sales of the staple goods.
Over in Warden, Project Merc owner Michael Ryder says when SNAP went away, he saw significant changes in their day-to-day.
Fresh meats, fresh produce, milk, cheese, those kind of items, sales were down in that area.
Down by 15% of the customers, Ryder says he actually changed how much he was buying for the store.
We had to back off on fresh produce, fresh meat, fresh milk, just because there is that impact.
An impact that felt some relief last week when the government shutdown officially ended.
We're starting to see, our normal customers flow through the store again.
I am still playing catch up because it pretty much I had to find what bills I could pay bare minimum on and still, make sure that my daughter ate.
But Billings resident Stacy Winkle says that her family is still recovering from the weeks without SNAP.
Government's opened back up, SNAP's returned, and I still have bare shelves.
Bare shelves and new questions, especially about the potential changes for those recertifying for SNAP, a process which happens twice a year.
It is challenging, and I'm kind of stressing about it.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins hinted at making that process more strict in an effort, she says, to cut back on waste. And that's why Montanans will be receiving this letter, which states that if the proper forms and interview aren't completed by December 15th, it could mean the loss of SNAP.
It's very hard, and it's really embarrassing.
And possibly a lot more paperwork for Winkle, who says regardless, she'll be grateful for whatever she gets.
Even if the reapplication causes a lower benefit, I'm grateful to have something. I mean, everything helps right now.
In Billings, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Charlie, thank you. Well, the funeral for Dick Cheney is scheduled for today at Washington National Cathedral. George W. Bush's former vice president died earlier this month at the age of 84 from complications of pneumonia and cardiac and vascular disease. Cheney was one of the most powerful and polarizing vice presidents in U.S. history. He was a leading advocate for the invasion of Iraq, and among the list of speakers is former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, former President Bush, and Cheney's former press secretary. Former President Biden is also expected to attend the funeral. And vandalism is becoming a concern at the historic hospital at the Hart Mountain National Landmark, with 4 separate incidents in the last 2 months. The most recent case came last week when intruders broke a window and damaged historic doors. For those that work daily to preserve these pieces of history, it's a sad trend and that they hope is stopped soon. Our Isabel Sparts traveled to the mountain and has more details.
In the rural land in between Powell and Cody sits a history some might not even know exists. Hart Mountain was a World War II incarceration camp that unjustly held 14,000 Japanese Americans.
We had just under 200 deaths at the camp that would have, involved the hospital complex, and over 500 births.
But Director of Operations for the Wyoming Foundation, Logan Christie, says these 3 remaining hospital structures have seen a string of vandalism in under 2 months.
This September 29th of this year was the first time we actually noticed doors ripped off or windows broken out.
As well as graffiti, trash, and a kicked-in wall. It's not happened just once, but now 4 times, with the most recent striking just last week. Due to the frequency, all they can do is patch, but it still has a cost.
Fixing with any integrity any of the damage, it'll be thousands.
Christie says the Park County Sheriff's Office have been investigating, and cameras have now been installed. But weather and time has already taken a toll on these structures, and they're filled with asbestos.
I almost can't put into words the level of frustration of finding something that holds such importance being desecrated to a point.
The hospital buildings behind me are just up the road from the museum, but the foundation doesn't own this land, which adds an additional challenge to an already frustrating situation.
Every time something gets ripped down, it destroys more of the original fabric. We have less to hook to.
They lease the land from the Bureau of Reclamation. A transfer would allow for proper preservation.
The federal bureaucracy that's at play has prevented it for roughly the last 8 or 10 years.
Once this happens, it would put more measures in place to prevent this from happening again at the historical site.
I'm hoping that the individuals who are doing this, who are being the vandals, realize that they're not just abandoned buildings. Hopefully that when that realization happens, it's an eye-opening experience for them.
In Park County, Wyoming, Isabel Sparts, MTN News.
Isabel, thank you. Well, new safety flags are now attached to the stop signs at Mary Street and Bitterroot Drive, along with new stop ahead warnings. It's the same intersection we told you about yesterday morning, where neighbors have seen 3 serious crashes in just the last few weeks. The city, county, and state are all talking about next steps, but they're still sorting out who has jurisdiction because of old county records. Neighbors say they've been raising concerns for days, worried a deadly crash will happen. City Public Works Works Director Debbie Melling says they'll improve safety regardless of who controls the road. MDT expects a traffic study within the next week, and Melling says any new signs must be warranted or they could make the intersection more dangerous. Now, meanwhile, residents at another busy Billings intersection are also raising the alarm this week. This time it's 36th and Monad, the site of a vehicle crash just Tuesday night. For those living in the area, they claim these collisions are becoming far too common. Our Vanessa Willardson has more.
2 vehicles crashed at the intersection between South 36th Street West and Monad Road Tuesday night.
When I come up to the corner of Monad and 36, you have all these flashing lights going on.
According to nearby resident Carol Weiss, this isn't new.
And I immediately knew there's an accident because we've lived in this area for 5 years, and I bet there's at least 2 a year, at least.
In fact, the intersection, which is a two-way stop, saw crashes in July and May this year as well.
And it just baffles me because the eyesight line is clear. There's no obstruction, there's no trees, it's flat, and it just boggles my mind that there's so many accidents there.
I spoke with a dozen of Weiss's neighbors, and they're all saying the same thing. This intersection needs a traffic light.
They put one down on King Avenue and 36, and I'm thinking, why not have one here? It's Monad, it's right off of the roundabout. I don't know why they don't put one there, just because of all these accidents.
We reached out to Billings Public Works to see what the city would need in order to make changes at the intersection. So far, we have not heard back, but neighbors are growing restless.
I just hope the city looks into it because this is really ridiculous. I don't think anybody's been killed that I know of, and I don't know about being hurt, but it's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen.
In Billings, Vanessa Willardson, MTN News.
And as Brawl Week continues, like many other schools, the University of Montana has leaned into the name, image, and likeness aspect of college athletics. And some recent changes to the structure of paying student athletes are impacting those on campus, with local businesses now finding ways to make an impact for the Grizzlies. MTN Kyle Hansen has more.
Name, image, and likeness is one of, if not the most talked about subjects in college athletics today, and has grown exponentially since 2021. Recently at UM, the Good Old Grizzlies NIL Collective was absorbed under the Montana Athletics umbrella as part of the recent House settlement.
Now, instead of donors and boosters and businesses being able to pay Good Old Grizzlies to then contribute to our student athletes, now people can just contribute straight to the University of Montana Foundation, where there's revenue share accounts set up for our student athletes, or they contribute there, get a tax deduction.
The two used to be separate entities, but now together, the process is streamlined when it comes to outside contributions for paying student athletes at Montana.
And I'm excited for our student athletes because a lot of times they had questions, they didn't understand what was going on, but now we have a process in place that I think athletes are going to feel very confident that things are right here at the University of Montana.
NIL has taken off, and locally, the state of Montana has been no exception, as businesses have had a profound impact as they've started to embrace it. In Missoula, DraftWorks Brewery crafted a beer called Up With, where every pint or can sold sees proceeds go to Good Old Grizzlies and UM for all Grizzly student athletes. Owners Paul Marshall and Jeff Grant are both Montana natives and UM alums, and they wanted to pitch in and create a beer they describe as an all-day tailgate style of brew.
It was an easy decision. We were kind of giddy about it and excited about it, and did really everything we could to work with Marcus, who was excellent to work with. Everyone at the university was great to work with, see it come to fruition. So we're really excited. It means something to us.
The beer sales have grown since it launched in January, and DraftWorks has worked with Uptop to create merch for it, as well as local vendors to distribute more of the beer, which in turn results in more sales and ultimately more money benefiting the athletes.
I'm still very bullish on the idea that we'll be writing bigger and bigger checks every month. So yeah, I think we're still definitely in the growth phase with Upwith, and that'll grow pretty dramatically over the next year.
It's the present and future, and finding ways to get the community involved is an advantage UM is hoping to continue to utilize and grow. Reporting in Missoula, Kyle Hansen, MTN Sports.
And we will have you covered all day here on Q2 for the 124th Brawl of the Wild. It's a high noon kickoff on Saturday, but the Saturday pregame show will kick off our coverage starting at 11 a.m. Then following the game, a special hour-long Saturday postgame show filled with all the highlights and reaction from Missoula.